Hi, I'm Marianna. Before we start the talk, I would like to get to know you guys better. So can you please raise your hands if you are an indie developer or an engineer? Now, please raise your hand if you struggle to market a game. Good. And how many of you actually work for wargaming? Plenty. Great. So aside of my work at Creative Mobile, I'm also involved in a few organizations such as IGD Estonia. And also I was mentoring Game Founders Accelerator for many years. And the problem with most of the indie developers that I meet is that when they start pitching their game, it looks like this. So I'm working on this 2D platformer with pixel art, or I'm working on that match-3 game with cute kitties. And well, if you imagine if Coca-Cola was presenting their product like that, it would be like, okay, go ahead and try my pure sugar in the bottle. Who is going to buy that? No one. So it is a question of positioning on the market. So how Coca-Cola positions themselves to the customer. Oh, it is a drink that brings you joy, that brings you a feeling of the holiday, that connects people together for sharing experience with this product. So why we are positioning games like that, not like this? And if we have a look at some popular titles, AAA titles, then picture is slightly different from what we see in the indie scene. So today I would like to talk about product positioning. And if you have any questions during the session, don't hesitate to ask, just raise your hand. And I like to make it like a live discussion, so not as a boring presentation. Okay? Good. So have you heard of product positioning and what it is, like from the marketing perspective? Anyone? Yeah, so this is the way how you communicate your product to the customers. How the customer sees it among all the other products in there. So for example, if, well, I really like this joke how men and women pick a shampoo when they come to the store, to the supermarket. So how women select a shampoo, so this one gives a bit more shine, this one gives more volume, this one smells good. How do men select shampoo? On the package there is written shampoo. So this is where marketers start to struggle. But still, positioning is a crucial thing for any product at any market. Because what we do with this mechanism, we're setting the value of the product and the vision of the product in the mind of the consumer. So it is not how we see it, it is how our customers see it, our players see it. Now, there is such a concept as 3 layers of the product. So the first one is the core. And the core meant to be a solution for problem solving. Well, marketing is in general as a science, so it is all about problem solving. And we have many different problems. So if you have seen these advertisements on TV when the TV shop, basically. So how they design the entire message for these TV shop ads. First, they show you something They show you the problem as it is. So, for example, a housewife that wearing gloves and apron, like trying to scratch some dishes, and you see the pain on her face, like how she struggles to do that. Next, they're showing a solution for this problem, like a product that helps this housewife not to do that work again, that hard work again. And after that, they present the features of the product, how it looks like, how do you work with it. And finally, if you call now, you get another one for free, which forms an additional product. So what do you think can be a problem that is solved with games?
Boredom or bored.
Boredom? Anyone else? Need for social interaction?
I want to get better at something.
Master something. Good. Actually, for the last 2 days, I was walking around and asking people, like, what do you expect from the game when you start playing a new one? So what are your expectations, and what probably can be your emotion while you're selecting the next game to play? So I got very different answers, but the most popular of them were that when selecting a new game to play, people want to get new experience, to live a life that is different from what they have. So here we talk about simulation games, RPGs, probably even strategies or anything where you can apply a new role for yourself and live over this role. The second was escapism, so like boredom. You just want to let all the entire world surrounding you aside and get to another universe, just to escape the reality. Well, self-expression is also very important because while playing the game, you are creating a story, your own story, as a player in this game. Often it is supported by narrative, by scenario, but on the first hand, you are creating your own experience, you're creating your own story. And especially with online games and online MMOs, it is one of the most popular problem that people are looking to solve when buying that game or starting playing that game. Excitement, aesthetics, socialization, of course, like playing with friends is always fun. So the picture of No Man's Sky here is not a mistake. So actually, this game, if you remember 2 years ago, how they released it on the market, and in their message, in their positioning, they met players' expectations pretty much. So there was a big hype around this game, how people were standing in the line to buy it. And it actually positioned as a game where you can get new experience, you can escape to new worlds, and of course they bet on the aesthetics a lot, so how the game looks, the good visuals and stuff. So if we apply this 3-layer product model on the game, on any game, then the core of the product, the problem solving, will be in the core gameplay. Then we cover it up with features, with UI, characters, story, controls. What else? What are more the components of the game that I missed here in the slide? Please help me. There is? Achievements. Hmm? Sorry? The core gameplay is the core of the product, so this is what solves the problem. And we're now talking about the actual product. So the actual product is formed by all the features and visual experience and like general experience of the player that we get from the actual product. And also we have an additional product. And additional product is everything that we are offering our players aside of the actual game. Well, in free-to-play, it is called a meta game. And actual additional product in free-to-play games is a huge, huge layer. So if we take as an example World of Tanks, so anyone can make like a tank shooting game, but what makes World of Tanks so special? It is an additional product. Events, technical support, new content, constantly added to the game. So this is the kind of service that players expect from it. And World of Tanks meet these expectations, and this is why it has so many players. Yep.
Can you step back a little and describe the differences between the core product and the actual product using something very basic from the real world? Because the line is kind of blurry to me.
Well, in the real world, the core of the product, like we were talking about Coca-Cola, so I can go back to Coca-Cola. What's the problem? Well, the core of the product is a drink itself. So we're selling the drink, sugar and water in the bottle, bubbly. This is the core of the product. And it solves one problem. If you're thirsty, you get a drink, you drink it. And actual product is what makes it special. So for Coca-Cola, it is color, taste, packaging, brand, of course. And as an additional product for Coca-Cola, if you go to the store and you see on the label, on the bottle, like you buy Coca-Cola, you find the code under the cap, and you participate in a game or lottery, you can win some goodies. So this is an example of additional product that is adding value to this drink, but still it's just a drink. And everything that surrounds it is already like artificially added to make you think that this drink is something special, that it differentiates from all the other drinks on that shelf. In the gaming market, it is even more crucial because we have thousands and thousands of games on this market now. Especially talking about mobile, well, App Store and Google Play is a landfill of games that never see the sunlight. And this is where indie developers struggle when they are about to release their first game on Steam or on App Store. They're so excited about it. And if they fail to differentiate this product, their game, to hundreds and thousands of others out there, then nobody will just see it. This is where we get to forming unique selling points. So USP is answering the question, what makes your game special? Why players have to pick this among this? Now, the example of unique selling points can be like comparing Fortnite and PUBG. So both games were released during the last year. Both are great hits. But what makes Fortnite special comparing to PUBG? How do you think? It's cartoonish. It's builder. It's free. That's a good point. Yes. So we can see so many differences, so many similarities, and so many differences between these two games at the same time. And the unique, positioning that the both choose is that it is a battle royale game where 100 drop, only one wins. That easy. So, but Fortnite is, they're not saying it in words, but they're showing it in all their graphic materials, that Fortnite is more casual-ish in terms of art style that they have chosen, which targets the audience, the generation of Minecraft players, and probably this is one of the reasons why Fortnite became more popular than PUBG. And yeah, of course, it's free, and everyone likes free stuff. Oh. So I'll get a little bit back here, so to this chart. Oh, how do you determine unique selling points of your game? Of course, we go through this pie, and we're trying to find what makes the game special on every layer of this pie. So is our core gameplay different from others? Well, there is a bunch of match-3 games, and what's the difference between Candy Crush and homescapes, gardenscapes? In the core gameplay, there is none, because they're very alike. So is there a difference or something that makes your game special in the actual product? Is this art style, or is it a story, or it is some sophisticated control system that you use? Probably cutting-edge technical solutions. But this is where we have a conflict between engineers and marketers, because engineers are more focused on the technical side of things. You agree?
Yeah.
But you know what? Your players don't give a damn about how clean your code is, how it is committed, how nice is your backend, and how many servers you use. They don't care. What they care about their experience and about these things that we were talking about before, about solving their problem to get this experience, to meet their expectations of why they started playing this game. They can forgive you some minor bugs, they can forgive you imperfect technical solution, perfect bugs. Basically, thank you. But they will never forgive you if you don't meet their expectations in terms of this problem solving. So if you position your game as something that helps you to escape the real world and get some new experience, and when I started playing this product, I realized that actually it is not that. I just get frustrated, and probably I will never buy a game from that developer again. Also, if you position your game as a social game where you can play with friends, and then you start playing this game, and you see that the only option, the only feature that you have in their social component is just you can view a profile of your friend. Well, that makes me sad as a player. I think that it makes all the other players sad as well. Well, if they took that bait that this game has to be social and it has to help you socialize with your buddies, well, the expectations were a bit different. So when picking unique selling points, you need to be sure that first, it actually is in your game, that you don't overestimate it. Because overestimation is the same bad as underestimation of what makes your game special. As user expectations are usually pretty high, and as market is growing, the user expectations also grow. They want to get something special, they want to get something different. And when you, do you have any questions on that part before I move forward? No? Okay. So we went through that entire pie of our layers of product, what makes it so good. We came up with a few unique selling points. And what now? How do we communicate it to our players? Of course, there are many ways of promotion, marketing, PR, but the most important is that we stick to this particular message on every channel that we are approaching. So the channels that bring us to the customer and every communication with the customer is called the contact points. And we have hundreds of those contact points, including your market page on Steam or App Store, how it looks like, what is an icon, what is a description, what is the name of the game, what is the promo image you use. The social networks, of course. And this is a very important communication channel now. And we have to stick to that vision that we designed before, to those USPs that we found before, and communicate them through all the channels that we have. And the most tricky thing is to make your community to pick up this message and send it forward. But this is already like some piece of magic and probably a topic for another presentation. So how do you make the community being your advocates and forwarding the message about your product to their friends or to other people? However, there is much more on this market that can affect your sales, that can affect your vision of the product and selling proposition. And the market is always against you, you know. The market is so full, it doesn't want new product to be in there, and everything new is always taken aggressively as something that shouldn't be there. And there is a competition, there is press and media, so these guys are pure evil, you know. So these guys can actually ruin your entire marketing campaign just in one day by releasing a single article. And this is what actually happened to No Man's Sky, if you remember. So press was overhyped about this product. So they wrote a lot about No Man's Sky, about this release, and how wonderful the game is, but the community didn't pick that up. Why? Probably because their expectations were overwhelmed. So press created a great hype around the game, but raising players' expectations, community expectations. But at some point they didn't meet. And what happens when your expectations don't meet the reality? Exactly, frustration. You're getting sad. Well, later, of course, they managed to put things together, and No Man's Sky is a great game, in my opinion. But at that point, at the release point, the market was so much diverse, like either against it or hyping it up. So marketplaces and retailers, they are, well, especially on mobile market, App Store and Google Play are monopolists in there. And we always need to follow their rules. If we don't follow their rules, we're not getting any sales, obviously. Steam, same thing. So all the marketplaces are now so centralized that it is getting very hard to get some unique visibility in there, because you have to follow the standards set up by the marketplace, and this is it. So you can't move anywhere with that. Authorities like COPA, they also can affect your marketing strategy and positioning in general. So if you want to market the game for kids under 16 years old, then you have to apply for this ESPN, or how is it called? This age? Huh? ESRB age ratings, yes. Or well, in Europe it's PEGI, which is much easier. And still, the authorities don't want the games to be there. So, okay, moving forward. So, if you don't want to end up in such situation where all these guys are trying to get your game down, then there's just a small set of rules that you could write down. So first of all, you need to adopt a player's perspective as your own. Because the problem with many developers is that we're creating a game that we want to play, not the games that players want to play. So try putting on their shoes and see your product from the player's perspective. What do they think about it? I do such an exercise with my team that we do this in mind mapping technique. We come up with the portrait of the player, of the typical player of our game. Sometimes it gets, we get very deep into details about who is this person, where he works, how he thinks, what is his daily routine, who are his friends, etc., etc. So we do the full customer profile of this imaginary player, and then we put it on the wall. And every time we need to make some decision, either it is a marketing decision or product development decision, look at them, okay, what would John think about it? Now, it is the most easiest way to get in your player's shoes, to make a very, very detailed portrait of your player, and just ask them, every time you want to make something, like what John will think. The market is always against you. We already talked about it just now. And any product is multi-layered, and your unique selling point can be on any layer. So this is an analysis that you need to perform over and over at every stage of your product development, because with every update, with every new content added to the game, your actual product and your additional product can change, and probably in there you can find some new unique selling points. But with one of our games, with Nitro Nation, for example, we stick to one positioning model, which is an ultimate racing experience for many years now already. And many features were added. So the game is already 4 years old, so it's not new at all. And we update it frequently, so we are adding new content and new features like once in 2 or 3 months, constantly. So you can imagine that in 4 years, it is a completely different game now. But still, we're trying to stick to the same positioning line that we chose from the very beginning. Because it is a general vision that helps the team to concentrate on what is valuable for this product and what is valuable for the players. And it doesn't let the players go, because we spent years on building this brand related to that positioning, and it works. And I think that if we continue doing that for another 4 years, that not much is going to change. So positioning has to be very consistent. If you chose one vision, if you chose one line for your product, so stick to that. Put that in every message that you deliver to the outer world. Is that a press release, or posts on Facebook or Instagram or other social networks, or is it updating your market page, whatever. It has to be consistent, it has to be one message. Very short, very clear, and of course it has to meet your player's vision of the product. Because you have a full control of that, of what your players think about it. So you communicate this message in their minds, and it stays there. And of course, people experience what they believe in. So when you set this vision, then people are always overthinking stuff, you know? So if they get one small trigger, they start imagining how it can go forward. I don't know how to say that. When you already set a certain expectations for the player, they obviously want to see them, they want to experience it with your product. Do you have any questions on this point? Okay, so that's it, and thank you very much. I hope that you picked up some useful tricks.
Thank you, Marianna. I see already hungry people running for lunch. Any more questions from the audience? Is there a hand?
Yes.
Do you need a microphone? Yeah, I think so.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Can you share with us just some example of success story that what you changed, what helped, and you know, it doesn't need to be long story, but if you can give us some just features what you changed, what helped really the marketing.
Okay.
Or business numbers.
Yes, I can bring up an example of our game, Nitro Nation Online. So this game is actually a successor of our older game called Drag Racing Original, which was released back in 2011. And in 2012, we got a new, very strong competitor on the market, which was CSR Racing. So we made a decision to take our original drag racing game and also move it into 3D, because 3D seemed to be a good fit to the market back then. So this is one of the examples where our vision was actually triggered by competition. So we developed Nitro Nation, and we started thinking, so how do we position this game against CSR? Because there already was a strong competitor, a strong player on that market who took over the niche and the genre. So we decided to go with a short, very clear line, ultimate racing experience. So we are not selling a racing game. We're selling the experience for the players. And how we came up with this one, so we just wrote down all the features, all the selling points that made our game special comparing to our biggest competitor. And then we made this chart where on one axis was value for the player of these features, and the second axis was how valuable in terms of potential revenue this feature is for us. And we put them all on the board, and we saw that some features that are in the right top corner, which means a very high value for the player and very high value for us. So this is basically the feature that players are ready to pay for. And this is how we formed our vision of this product for future.